Hi everyone, it's Raina. So this video is if you have your sun in Leo and Taurus rising. Right away, we know that this is double fixed energy. We have the sun in fire and we have earth as the ascendant. And because the ascendant is Taurus, that means that your ruler is Venus. And when people have their ruler as Venus, so this would also include Libra rising, they tend to be physically attractive. The rising sign is the cusp of the first house of the self, which can be the body, the mannerisms, and the way that people conduct themselves around others. And so it's kind of like, you could say it's the persona. Definitely the sun sign can contribute to the appearance and definitely personality. It's the core personality. But the thing is, especially I personally feel in the first 30 years of life, before the first Saturn return, or by the time that Saturn return is over with, I feel that the sun sign takes precedence, but the rising sign is always going to be part of that person's package. And what a package this is, because you may give off this image of being very earthy, sensual, and the way I was gonna say dressing in a sexy manner. I have Taurus rising. I guarantee you, I'm not doing that now, but back in the day, I did. But the what I meant to say is, I wouldn't necessarily say that about men, but women in particular, if you have this combination, you may dress to impress, but in a sexy way, because Leo likes to draw attention anyhow, and you tend to view life as this grand play, and you are the leading uh, lady or man of that play. So why not dress the part, right? Why not be somebody that really attracts attention? Well, the way that you would choose to do so is through being very provocative in your dress. Now, if it were the other way around, I've already done a video where Leo is the rising sign. To me, that would be more very flashy kinds of clothing. But in this case, I would say it would be provocative clothing. And so, anyway, when we're talking about double fixed energy, and remember that Leo, you could have other inner planets in Leo as well. And you can even have Mars and Taurus, perhaps, that you would be the kind of person who is very set in your ways. I'm trying to find a polite way to say stubborn. But there's a good side to it, because you can be extremely persistent, and that can lead to success because a person doesn't give up. Now, obviously, if a person keeps going down a path that shows resistance, they're going to be barking up the wrong tree and banging their head against the wall. So this combination has to know when to quit. And I really think it's not appropriate for me to discuss it from those terms. I would definitely look at Mars to see what sign that's in. But if your Mars is in Leo, anytime Mars is in a fixed sign, I consider it a steamroller effect, where the person acts in a way which, it's almost like wearing down your opponent. And if you're like going after someone, if you're attracted to somebody and you're going after them, this could be actually very obsessive behavior, which you don't want to do. You don't want to force yourself onto someone emotionally and expect them to just kind of submit to your will. You don't want to be too willful in life. And also, you want to be cooperative. You don't want to just be like my way or the highway. You have to do things my way. Because this isn't necessarily controlling behavior where you're trying to force other people, but you are very resolute in how you want to do things. So it can be very difficult to negotiate with such a person because they tend to really dig in their heels, and so that can create problems. But like I said, there are also good sides to this. You will tend to be very consistent in your patterns, and we could call that predictable. Is this bad? Is this good? Is this indifferent? Well, it can be either. Sometimes people who are unwilling to change, they become stagnant, and life is really about change. First of all, that's like just a fact of life, about life. But also, if you believe that you are here to experience growth, then this is the opposite of that. And so there can be a tendency to love the tried and true a little bit too much and to kind of go into that comfort zone on a regular basis. And this can be as simple as going out to dinner and getting the same thing all the time. And I know having Taurus rising, um, but having another fixed sign in my personal points, part of that is if you like something, you want to repeat that experience. So it's understandable, but what it does is it tends to narrow the focus and tends to keep that person from, exploring more. So that's kind of what I wanted to say about fixed energy. Now, in terms of how this combination works, it's really important to note that the rising sign is going to function mainly as the impression that you make and uh, how you behave around other people. So, overall, the sun sign is much more of a focus. I'll just say one last thing about Taurus be that could be relevant. Both of these signs to me are lusty signs. I would also include Aries in this category. Scorpio gets the reputation of it. I would not put Scorpio as one of the lustier signs, surprisingly enough, because I think while Scorpio is associated with sex, I think that it's more of a magical practice for Scorpio. It's a way for Scorpio to experience um, a sense of transcendence at the highest level. So I'm not going to talk about that because when I talk about lust, I'm talking about sensuality and pleasure seeking. Leo, for Leo, there might be that psychological vanity at play where Leo wants to be reinforced about how amazing Leo is. But talking specifically about Taurus, since Taurus is the first earth sign and ruled by Venus, there is this pleasure principle. And a lot of people forget about that, forget about just a simple act of pleasure in connection with sex. And it doesn't have to be that complicated. So sometimes Leos can be hedonistic in that they are constantly seeking pleasure. And that can sometimes be, Leo is a very, did I say Leo? I meant Taurus. Um, Sometimes that can be the downfall of a Taurus person who is unrestrained because Taurus can be very stable, being an earth sign and being fixed. So certainly, Taurus individuals can be reliable. But as this is on the ascendant, the person may um, seek out that type of validation about their sex appeal, and that, and they also are, have that earth element, along with the sun being in Leo, to spur them on to perhaps a very, I don't know if maybe promiscuous phase in their life, perhaps when they're younger. And maybe as they grow older and they feel more confident in their accomplishments, they will not rely on the outer to kind of validate them. And I'm saying, I should be saying you. So the other thing too is looking for love. If somebody has been neglected or otherwise, so for instance, if you have the moon in Pisces or maybe any of the water signs, and you've been through the ringer emotionally growing up, and other indicators in the chart of trauma, eighth house, stuff going on, what have you, you may have a tendency to use your looks to kind of get somebody so that you can experience love, or use sex to experience love. And of course, that's not going to work because you will attract somebody who probably just wants that sex. So, you see what I did there? I'm looking at the heart of the matter, which is what motivates a person ultimately. And that's what it boils down to. So the ability to discern your motives, and see why you're doing what you're doing is very important, because this combination can be very charismatic. You can be very charming, having Venus as your ruler and having this larger than life persona as a Leo sun sign. You might be a very you might have a lot of leadership abilities. The sun sign would be more in determining your type of career than the rising sign. The rising sign could just be like, okay, how easy can that person facilitate that? Because, your image is going to play into things. So, for instance, if you are a sun sign in Leo, yes, all of the creative types of pursuits are indicated because your ruler is Venus. And the ruler of the sun, the ruler of Leo is the sun. And so both of those planets we could associate with creativity. And, Leo rules the fifth house of love and creativity. So it's perfect for the romantic person, the artist, the performing artist, somebody who likes to be in front of others. Now, Leo is also, like I said, great leadership abilities. Leo people are found, even I knew somebody that was a chemist who was a Leo. So the science is anything. I mean, I don't know if that was because they were a Leo. I mean, if you have inner planets in Virgo, which is an earth sign, that would make a lot of sense, because all the earth inherently understands that type of material. But in any case, I would particularly associate Leos with artistic pursuits and working with children, because the fifth house that Leo rules is in part children, and Leo has the inner child. So that's a thing that Leo has. What else? I would say anybody who is like in charge, if like you run a company, or if you're you're working for somebody else, and there's that kind of thing where you are in charge. In talking about the types of relationships that would appeal to you, I think that this combination would naturally favor more of a very stable relationship than being single for a long period of time. Actually, with Taurus rising, I could see you getting involved very seriously earlier in life than the average person. And the thing that can show up here is jealousy. I think that Leo and Taurus have this in common, but especially Taurus. Leo is, it's more of a thing where you want undivided attention, or an undivided loyalties. That's a big thing for you, is loyalty. And so if somebody is straying, that can be, but it's also seen as an affront of like, I'm so fabulous, why would you even think about being with somebody else? With Taurus, it's possessiveness. Taurus rules the second house, which deals with money and possessions. So people become possessions. And therefore, when they are not in the ownership of the owner, there's a problem. And it's a very basic problem. So, learning how to be more um, understanding of other people's need for freedom, for not being kept on a short leash, is very important, because you might end up creating drama in relationships, and that could lead to you not having the type of relationship that you're looking for. Maybe it's on again, off again, full of a lot of conflict, and or just not there at all, because the other person says, no, thank you, I don't want that. So, I would also say that I think this is a very romantic combination, and a combination that is fun loving. I think also this can be a hedonistic, indulgent combination, and you may be financially very free spending and love luxury. And, I do believe that Leo people tend to do well financially because they have that natural desire to live that kind of lifestyle where they can, you know, live large. I always associate Leo with royalty, so that makes a lot of sense. Okay, that's what I have for you. I hope that resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.